Today we will take a look at one of the most useful pieces of automation inside PDM, known as tasks. The specific task we're going to take a look at today is known as the convert task, used to convert SOLIDWORKS files into various formats, such as SOLIDWORKS drawings converted to PDF or parts or assemblies converted to step files. The task can normally be found under the task node in the PDM administration tool. You'll normally see one here called convert. If you do not have it here, you can import it into your vault by right-clicking on the vault name, clicking import, browsing to where PDM is installed on your computer. This can be from any computer. It does not have to be from the PDM server. Typically, this is C drive, program files, SOLIDWORKS Corp, SOLIDWORKS PDM, and browsing into this default data folder. At the very bottom, you will see a CEX file or a configuration file called convert_GB or convert_English, basically, and you can bring that in to import it into your vault. So let's take a look at how we configure the convert task for automation of converting native SOLIDWORKS files. We double-click or right-click and open it to enter the configuration dialog. The first thing is, what add-in do we want to use? Now, the add-in is a custom piece of script provided by SOLIDWORKS that allows you to do this automation, basically. So this add-in is brought in along with the convert task as well. You can also choose whether you want to execute the task as the logged in user or as some specific user and then enter the password. Also, whether you want to retry the task if it fails, and how many minutes you want to wait before trying again, or before declaring a failure and then trying again. Then the next step is choosing what's known as the execution method. So these tasks run on what's known as a host computer. So you can either let the PDM system choose a computer to execute the task, you can prompt the user when the task is run to choose a computer, or you can execute on the computer where the task is initiated. How do you enable a computer to act as a host? So it will appear in this list here. Well, on every computer that you want to act as a potential task host, what you need to do is go down to your system tray and find the PDM icon. Let me just bring that up by logging into a vault here. So once I am logged into the vault, I'll now see the PDM icon active in my system tray. I can click on it, and I have an option here called Task Host Configuration. By clicking on that option, making sure the vault name is correct here in the drop-down, I see two add-ins here, a PDF add-in and a generic SOLIDWORKS task add-in. The PDF task add-in here is for converting things like Office files, so Word and Excel documents to PDF, and also draft site documents such as DWGs to PDF. I can permit that. And the generic one is to run the convert task to run native SOLIDWORKS files to PDF or any other format there. So we'll click OK to that. Now, when I click Refresh List, you can see the computer we are currently logged on appear in the list here. So we can tick that so it will be a potential host for this computer. And if in this case, because there's only one computer selected, we wouldn't use the prompt option, but we can use either the execute initiated option or letting the system choose the option there as well. Menu commands. These tasks can be run either on demand, which means right-clicking on a file, or they can be run as an action in a workflow transition. So if you want to run them on demand, this command is what would show when you right-click on an eligible file. So you'll see tasks, and then you'll see a submenu which will have convert files, and you can customize this to your liking with more submenus if you like. conversion settings. So we can leave this as prompt the user. So whenever the task runs, we are prompted to select a format that we want. If I click on the drop down, you will see the available list of formats. So all the standard formats that SOLIDWORKS can output in. So 3D PDFs, 2D PDFs, Adobe files, DXFs and DWGs, e-drawings, as well as your normal 3D neutral file formats, IGES, STEP, and Parasolid. So all of the formats that you can output manually from SOLIDWORKS, the task can do there as well. So as I said, we can leave this as prompt the user. So you might do that if you just want one task, and then every time it runs, you can select the format. Or what you might do is select just PDF. So every time it runs, it will only create PDFs there. Then you have some options here for configuration, so where you want to output all configurations or only the last active, or a specific named configuration. We'll just choose all configurations and take this allow the user option off, and whether we want to output all sheets, and if you do have a multi-sheet drawing, do you want to create one output file per sheet or include all sheets? I'm going to choose the include all sheets, which means if I have a drawing with 2 sheets, it will create a 2-page PDF rather than creating 2 separate PDFs, which would have been the case if I chose this option here. And then what references do you want to use? Do you want to use the latest or the reference? So we'll leave that at latest, and again, allow the user. Anytime where you see this and untick the allow the user option to change the setting, you're essentially, as many of these as you can untick, the task is essentially running silently without any input from yourself. Moving on to the next stage, file card. So if you're choosing to create the output file, in this case a PDF, which is the format that we've selected, if you're choosing to create that inside the vault, well, then it's going to be checked in and it's going to have a data card as well. So what this section of the convert task allows you to do is to specify any variables or properties that you might want to take over from the source file, let's say it's a SOLIDWORKS drawing, over to the destination file, in this case a PDF. So to do that, we can simply say add variable, select a variable that we want. So let's say, for example, description. And what do we want on the destination data card? Again, we'll just choose description there as well. Obviously, for this to work, the variable must be available both on the source files data card and the destination files data card as well. So this can be quite handy. There's no limit to how many variables that you can specify here, and this can be very handy. So you might search later on for a description or a part number, and both the source file, let's say it's a SOLIDWORKS drawing, and the destination file would come up there as well. The next step, and probably the most important step, is where is this PDF going to be created, and what is it going to be, or how is it going to be named as well. So we have dynamic variables that we can use, as well as some system variables that we can use to output the path, the file. You can have up to 2 locations, as you can see here. So we have a primary and a secondary location. Both can be inside the vault, both can be outside. You could have one inside, one outside. It's completely up to you. So for example, what we might want, just going to delete all of this and we'll start from scratch. So we might want the file to be always put into a folder inside the vault called PDFs. And then the name of the source file, and then dash, and then the revision of the source file. So how might we build that up? So if I click the arrow, you can see we have various options here. So one thing is I want to create vault root. So this will be the root of the vault. Then I can go / create a folder called PDFs. Then /, so that's where it's going to be created. Then we want the source file name. And then we'll say dash, and I'll just add the static text rev, and then I'll just add an underscore there, and then whatever the source file revision is there. So you can see there the example that would show up. Okay, and again, we can just untick this, allowing the user to not change the output path, and then we can also specify the secondary output path if we want. Because this is created inside the vault, we have a couple of options that we can utilize down here as well. So, such as creating a reference from the destination file to the source file. This will create a link that will show up under both contains and where used. So in this case, if we're converting the drawing to a PDF, the PDF essentially becomes the parent. So if you click on the PDF and click the Contains tab, you would see the drawing. Conversely, if you click on the drawing and click on the Where Used tab, you would see the PDF listed there. If you're creating a file a PDF file that already exists, you can either choose to replace it, so it will overwrite it, or you can create it as a new version if you wish to preserve the old version there as well. And also, finally, just a location for the error logs if for whatever reason the task fails. You do have some advanced options here. So this is the actual macro or script that is running to create or run the task. If you have multiple versions of SOLIDWORKS installed on your task host, you can choose to use what's known as the default, or just choose a specific version. Perhaps if you didn't want to open up any, let's say, 2017 drawings in SOLIDWORKS 2018 and have them accidentally saved in 2018, and then therefore not be able to be opened and worked on in 2017. So you can just specify that there as well. Right, once we've done that, the final thing is just who's going to run this. So we can choose our users and groups there, just as normal. And we can also choose to use success or error notifications if we want as well. I'll just leave those blank for now. Once we click OK, so that's the task configured. So as I said, it's ready to be used on demand, but we can also use it in the workflow there. So if we click a workflow and go into any workflow, we can go to any transition and we can add what's known as an action to execute what's known as a task. So execute task. And we'll select the task that we just configured, the convert task. Now, because we specified PDFs, we may want to specify that this task should only run for drawing files that are going through this transition, and not for parts or assemblies or any other types of files that may be going through as well. So we can tick this only run for files with these extensions and just specify SLD DRW there as well. So it will automatically create PDFs as the drawing file goes through this transition there as well. So let's just take a look at here. So here I have a example drawing there. So if we just check it in, and we'll just run this one on demand. So I can just right click. You can see I've got my tasks menu and I've got convert files there as well. We can also monitor the progress of the task. We can see here under task, we have an option of task list, and we can see all the tasks that are waiting there particularly.